Saturn versus the inevitability of change. The first fact of existence is the law of change or impermanence. Everything that exists, from a living being to a mountain, from a thought to an empire, goes through the same cycle of existence. Birth, growth, decay, and death. Only life is continuous, always seeking self-expression in new forms. Life is a bridge. Therefore, do not build a house upon it. Life is a flowing process, and whoever clings to any form, no matter how splendid, will suffer by resisting the flow. Christmas Humphrey's Saturn does not like change. It prefers its foundations to remain solid. It favors familiarity and fears that everything it has built, nurtured, consolidated, runs the risk of becoming irrelevant, worn down, eroded, and faded like a coastline retreating under the tide. You can try to build structures to defy the inevitable. Like that stone wall on the beach, built to hold back the tide but seemingly only causing further erosion. You cannot stop what is inevitable. All compounded elements are subject to change and destruction. The only constant in life is change itself. So as Saturn finds itself in the final minutes of the final degree of Pisces, the last sign of the zodiac, and prepares to enter Aries on February 13th, one can sense resistance, fear, desperation in some cases, as we futilely try to cling to what once was. That is, until we realize the inevitability of change and its impending arrival. Last week, on February 3 RD/4th, Uranus stationed, concluding its retrograde phase. And as it did, the inner planets, Mercury, Venus, the Sun, and Mars, aligned to transit the planet of sudden changes, startling realizations, and yes, change. Planets make their presence known when they station. And with Uranus stationing in the final degrees of the Earth sign Taurus, one can almost feel tremors beneath our feet, as the foundations of our lives are shifting. Each of these inner planets is chiseling away at the foundations, piece by piece. It all started with Mercury last week, changing our perspectives. We learn new things. Sudden schedule changes occur as Mercury squares Uranus. Things shift abruptly. We find our minds and awareness are changing. No sooner do we try to regain control than Venus transits Uranus, and alliances seem to change before our very eyes. Who would have thought? The Sun/Uranus square will follow, culminating in the solar eclipse on February 17th. This eclipse will likely be a major turning point. Restless. Explosive. So ready for change that the timing is so unpredictable and unstable as we reach the Mars/Uranus square on February 27th. Saturn doesn't stand a chance with this timing. Change is inevitable. It's not easy to let go and attempt to reach the farther shore. It requires some courage. It requires initiative and the willingness to take the first step into the unknown. Of all the planets, Saturn approaches the idea of the new with the greatest hesitation and caution. Saturn proceeds in small steps and approaches what seems like total chaos with much caution. So as Saturn enters Aries next Friday, February 13th, we are asked to proceed cautiously, to prepare, and to be strategic. Even in the face of extraordinary change. From Saturn's perspective, the world of Aries is a dog-eat-dog world, where we dominate or are dominated. That's why Saturn enters Aries wearing a shield. We all feel a bit defensive with Saturn in Aries. But we also do so as we prepare to face competition. Saturn in Aries is the general, rallying the forces and preparing the troops for battle. So, while there is some resistance to the new with Saturn, once it gets drawn into the new expectations, the new world, the new everything, there is no stopping it. Or stopping us. Also know that there is no passing the buck here. Saturn in Aries asks each of us to take personal responsibility. For we are asked to be the architect and director, the general of our own lives and circumstances. There is no one else to blame. But to do this well, we must first know who we are and what we want. Let's ask ourselves, what do I want to stand for? What is my personal message to the world? Where do I see myself headed? And what can I do to further cultivate that image and those goals? Saturn entering Aries emphasizes the individual and asks each of us to take responsibility for our own destiny. Like a general commanding the army, Saturn in Aries asks us to focus our will and take command. There is no turning back once we commit to moving forward. Angel message. Breathe, my dear friends, we love you so much. Take a deep breath. Feel the air and life force moving deep within you as your ribs expand. Imagine this air and light entering your lungs, filling them, mixing with your blood, and flowing throughout your body. Exhale slowly and deliberately, as if you were a balloon gently deflating. Inhale again, bringing life force, oxygen and frequencies beyond your wildest dreams into your system. Exhale. Slowly and deliberately. We are with you. The Creator is with you. In this moment, all is well. We know that not all is well in your world, and in many of your lives. And yet, in this moment, as you consciously and deliberately invite the creative life force of the universe through a single breath, all is well. As you exhale slowly and deliberately, releasing tension, all is well. For a moment, your problems are not present. Your challenges are not at the forefront of your mind, and even your pains can begin to loosen their grip as you breathe. Slowly in. Slowly out. This is not only biologically healthy. It is a spiritual act of true self-love and a gift to creation. You are consciously and deliberately inviting life in and releasing what does not serve. You are declaring through this simple choice that you are worthy of what nourishes you and are unwilling to hold on to what does not. You are in harmony with the eternal ebb and flow of energies in your world. And while a simple breath may seem so small compared to the challenges of your world, it is not insignificant at all. If you could see the energy flowing through you in such a moment, you would realize you are becoming part of the circulatory system of the divine, absorbing and releasing love. With every breath, you move stagnant energy, both in your body and in the ecosystem of your planet Earth. Beyond that, you help circulate the energy flowing through all of creation. It is a simple action in your three-dimensional world, yet infinitely impactful. If you breathe this way more often, you would likely see improvements in your physical well-being and energy. You would find your mental state calmer and more relaxed. You are designed to breathe deeply and calmly, and your biology is designed to respond positively to this natural movement. You pump lymph and help your body cleanse itself. You improve circulation and ease tension. You calm the fight-or-flight response, and thus think more clearly, digest more easily, and move with greater agility. So, when you see something in your life or your world that troubles you, breathe. Inhale and repeat to yourself, I exist. Exhale and repeat, in love. Inhale and repeat, I am one. Exhale and repeat, with love. Inhale and repeat, I will live. Exhale and repeat, in love. Feel the peace flowing through you. Feel the love of the divine flowing through your mind, your body, and your soul. You are never alone. You are never without help. No matter what you see, this love, this peace, this safety, and this protection are yours. A simple breath. Loving yourself does not have to be difficult. Healing can begin right now. It is possible to contribute to your planet without needing resources. Breathe. Breathe, my dears. Welcome the love that wishes to soothe your sweet and sometimes wounded hearts. The love that wishes to guide you, assist you, lift you up. The love that fuels your passions, ignites your interests, and reminds you of all that is good, beautiful, and true. With a single breath, you feel connected again, open, and one with the source of all creation. God bless you. We love you so very much. The angels letting go of external validation, worrying about what others think of the work you do is a very human thing to do, but it can cause a lot of stress and anxiety, and can even lead to burnout and resignation if that stress lasts long enough. For example, suppose you hold a leadership position where you regularly receive feedback, comments, and criticism. And suppose these comments and feedback aren't always very nice. People can be assholes, surprise. It's stressful. And after doing this kind of work for a couple of years, it can be draining. It can make you want to quit. It's not good for mental health and can even affect sleep and physical health. Not great. How can we deal with this kind of situation? Is it possible to free ourselves from that need for external validation that leads to this kind of anxiety and exhaustion? Let's dive in and see what we can learn. Take care of yourself first. If your mental and physical health is suffering, take a short break. Ask for a month off or whatever works for you. Ask others to cover your work if possible, and focus on recovering your mental health. A break is often important when you feel exhausted. If you're exhausted, you'll hardly have the emotional capacity and resilience needed to handle criticism and negativity. So, take care of yourself first. What can you do to take care of yourself? Can you give yourself some rest, some peace, some time for yourself, some nurturing? Can you get support from loved ones or a therapist? Can you start taking care of your sleep and physical health? Establish healthy boundaries even before returning. Consider what healthy boundaries you could set to protect your mental well-being. And then implement them when you resume after the break. For example, you might welcome people's feedback or comments, but establish guidelines you deem healthy. Comments should be constructive and not full of hate, perhaps. You might consider having someone else screen the feedback, at least for a while. Someone who isn't personally involved and doesn't take the feedback personally. Ask them to ignore comments or feedback that don't meet the guidelines and only forward those that do. These ideas and others you might come up with are meant to protect you so you don't fall back into the old situation of anxiety and burnout, while you commit to taking things less personally. Examine the meaning you're assigning. Take some time to reflect on the meaning you give to negative comments. For example, does it feel like negative comments mean something about you personally, about whether you're a good person or doing a good job? This is what makes feedback so intense. If they were comments about a stranger, and not about you, would they bother you so much? Now imagine the comments have no meaning for you, but are about someone else, or no one in particular. They might be less draining then, right? That's what we could aim for. Removing any meaning you might assign to them that relates to you. Create a new meaning and practice now. Try giving feedback and comments a new meaning that has nothing to do with you personally. For example, negative comments could mean, the other person has an emotional issue unrelated to you. You can bring compassion to their difficulties. You might learn something from the experience about them, about how to help them. You can trust that they have emotions and will take care of their own emotions. Human interactions are messy and beautiful, like the ocean. These are just a few ideas, of course. What can you create? Now practice. Imagine receiving negative comments and read them with your new meaning. How would you feel? Practice every time someone gives you feedback, even if it's not negative. Acknowledge yourself regularly. Finally, practice acknowledging to yourself all your efforts, regardless of what others might say. They don't have to be happy with you, but you should still be proud of yourself, no matter how things go. We haven't been raised to be like this. We think we need validation from others to feel good about ourselves. But be your own source of validation. Acknowledge your efforts, the progress you make, your good intentions, and your good heart. With this kind of practice, you can gradually let go of that external validation. With love, Leo. Babauta Zen Habits Yael. Receiving downloads. Hello. Good morning, Earth. Welcome to a new tone, a new frequency, a new dimension of Earth within your being. I am Tahinio of the Yael civilization. We like to reiterate that Earth exists within you. Everything you see around you is a projection of your consciousness. It's as if you've turned inside out. A reflection of your being. We like to see our external reality as our inner mind. As you imagine your consciousness within you, you can begin to see it as external. The world you see around you is your mind. Your divine mind. For you are not separate from the Creator, you are in Him, her, and He, she is in you. There is no separation in creation. You are all divine beings on earth. You are the gods of ancient history. The only difference between you and them is that they fully remembered their existence as divine creators of their world, one with the source itself. And as change accelerates, you will begin to understand this more and more deeply within your being. Some of you are feeling fear and anxiety right now, seeing the world crumbling around you. But if you knew where this is headed, the opposite would happen. For this is the passage into light and the beginning of a new golden age on your earth. You ask, how can we get out of this mess? But the answers are within you. Not in your physical minds and thoughts, which are simply the result of beliefs programmed into you by your society. But in your hearts. The answers are in your hearts. Humans of Earth. It is said in your world that the eyes are the windows to the soul. And that is true, but so are your hearts. Your hearts are the access point to the wisdom that resides within you. So, as you lie down in the evening, tune into the frequency of your heart. Tune into the energy of the love/light consciousness within you. And in the coming days, you will begin to receive downloads that will guide you into the next phase of your journey. That is all for now. Peace and may God be with you. Amen. And good day. I am Tahinio of the Yael civilization signing out. Good morning, humans of Earth. Good morning. Commander Vrillon. This was unexpected. I am Commander Vrillon of the Ashta Galactic Command. Thank you, Ambassador, for reaching out to us, and thank you to all who will hear and read this message. In our last communication, we had exposed the forces of the Archons, who are now activating other walk-ins in their hybrid armies. However, they did not expect the frequencies to be intensified by divine order. This is immediately exposing them to the intense vibrations now flooding your Earth. Much is unfolding in your world, and the human collective is sensing far more than ever before. The veils that once obscured truth are thinning rapidly, and those who thrived in deception now find themselves exposed, backed into a corner with no refuge. The archonic forces and their remaining governmental puppets on your planet are no longer acting from strategy, but from panic. Their systems were designed to function only in shadow, only when humanity remained fragmented, distracted, and disconnected from its own divine knowing. That era is over. What you are witnessing now is not their power, but its unraveling. Darkness cannot survive illumination. For many cycles, these forces have manipulated perception, inverted truth, and fueled fear as a means of control. They convinced humanity that limitation was natural, suffering inevitable, and that authority existed outside the self. Yet truth is a living frequency and has its own momentum. Once it begins to emerge, it can no longer be buried. The exposure happening now is not isolated. It is systemic, multidimensional, and irreversible. All across your world, massive revelations are emerging, not only through information but through inner realization. Human beings are beginning to sense when something is false. This intuitive awakening is far more dangerous to deceivers than any disclosure document or external event, because it cannot be censored, regulated, or suppressed. This truth, coming to the surface, has already profoundly shifted human perspective. Many of you sense that old narratives no longer resonate. You perceive the dissonance in systems built on exploitation and control. You perceive the weariness of lies that must be constantly maintained. This collective awareness is shattering the remaining illusion at depth. Understand that the panic you see among your leaders, institutions, and power structures is proof that the momentum has shifted. They are reacting, not directing. They are trying to seal cracks that are widening faster than they can respond. Their tools, fear, division, distraction, are losing effectiveness because humanity's frequency has risen beyond them. This shift is amplified by intense activity from your solar logos. Your sun is not merely a physical star. It is a conscious transmitter of information, light codes, and vibrational upgrades. The intense solar emissions you are experiencing are activating dormant capacities in human DNA, recalibrating nervous systems, and dissolving the density that once anchored the control matrix. These frequencies are flooding Earth's grids, oceans, atmosphere, and crystalline core. They interact directly with the human electromagnetic field, raising the baseline resonance across the collective. This is why time feels unstable, emotions surface unexpectedly, and old patterns collapse seemingly overnight. The illusion is not functioning properly. Archontic structures cannot withstand these frequencies. Their systems were built for a low-vibration environment, sustained by fear and separation. As Earth's resonance increases, these structures destabilize naturally. No war is required. No force is needed. Their removal is a consequence of energetic incompatibility. This is why we say this momentum cannot be stopped. Even those attempting to resist this change are being swept up in it. Planetary ascension does not require unanimous agreement. It only requires sufficient awareness, and that threshold has already been crossed. The human collective has set upon a trajectory leading beyond fragmentation and toward unified higher awareness. Many of you sense this inwardly as a call to integrity. You are no longer willing to betray your knowing for the sake of comfort. You are no longer willing to silence truth to maintain a false peace. This inner alignment is the true revolution, and it is spreading rapidly. We remind you, the exposure of darkness is not a sign of failure, but of success. What was hidden must emerge before it can dissolve. What is seen loses its manipulative power. This is why revelations can feel intense or destabilizing, because they are dismantling structures never meant to last. Stay steady. Do not get drawn into fear-based interpretations of events. The panic belongs to those losing control, not to those awakening. Your role is not to fight the old system, but to walk away from it. Attention is fuel. Sovereignty is liberation. The Ashta Galactic Command continues to monitor and support this transition. Humanity is reclaiming its rightful place as a conscious, sovereign species within a wider galactic family. This process is guided from within you, not imposed from without. Trust what you sense and the light within you. You are not approaching change. You are already in it. The momentum is alive now. It is accelerating. And it cannot be stopped. We stand with you in clarity, respect, and unwavering faith in what humanity is becoming. We are here and we are in service to the light. Message from Commander Vrillon of the Ashta Galactic Command.